salon, when doing color, will do highlight services. You at home may wish to perform those services yourself, and therefore you may need to go to a store and purchase box color in order to achieve this. So it's my pleasure, my sincere pleasure today, to show you some simple, quick tips in order to do that at home. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to mix our highlighting formula in a bowl. I think if you're going to be highlighting your hair at home, it's a great idea to invest in a plastic bowl and a plastic brush to be able to have better control when you highlight your hair. So I'm going to add a bit more of our developer. I've added the lightener in the bowl. I think if you have darker hair or previously colored hair, it's a good idea to purchase a lightener or bleach when you go to the store to purchase your highlighting formula. And then you can mix it up to your desired consistency. And I'm getting a consistency that I like to work with this brush. Once you've achieved the pudding-like consistency so that it's thick and it'll be easily controlled by you, then we're ready to go. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about foils. You can purchase this at any grocery store and cut them to the size that you would like. This is the size that I've chosen for myself. And we're only going to apply a few foils around the front of the face to achieve some highlights. Alright, so let's get to work on the hair. One of the things that's important, I think, if you're doing this at home, is to wear a nice pair of gloves, which is very reasonable. Also, I think it's important to wear something, a piece of clothing that you're not that concerned about getting stains on, such as a white t-shirt. I also think it's a good idea to pick up a comb that you feel comfortable sectioning with, and a couple of clips to be able to clip back your hair. Nothing that difficult. I'm going to go back, midway back through Charlie's hair, and I'm just going to clip up some of the hair that I'm not going to highlight. We really only want to highlight in the front by the face. So you see how easy this is. Just going to clip that away. And with any comb that you feel comfortable with, go in and just slice a section. The idea is to do thin sections, about 1/8 of an inch. Wherever you feel comfortable, just slice 1/8 of an inch section. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think it's a good idea to use foils. We talked about your cutting them to your desired length. I would just place the foil in however you feel comfortable and apply the lightener formula of choice and try to get as close to the scalp as you possibly can. You may not be able to do it as perfectly because you're going to be working on top of your head. The foil is great because what it'll do is it'll hold the heat in, and you'll achieve an even lightening. So just fold the foil up as neatly as you possibly can and put it away. Take another little section and skip it. Then put another foil in. Again, just a real simple slice, about 1/8 of an inch. We're working towards the front of your head. That's where most people will want to see the highlights anyway, is in the front of your head. So again, put it in as comfortably as you can, and apply the lightener as close to the scalp without touching the scalp. You really don't want to touch your scalp with lightener, especially a box lightener that you purchase at the store. Just want to keep it off the scalp. Lightener is for off the scalp lightening. Clip it away. Same thing on the other side. And I'm just going to put in maybe about like 5 or 6 foils total. And that's all you really need to achieve some lightening towards the bangs, the area that we know as the bangs. One of the things I think is so important when you're going to purchase a highlighting kit at a store, at a drugstore, at a beauty supply store, if you happen to be lucky enough to visit a beauty supply store and at least be able to ask one of the professionals that works at the beauty supply, that's your best bet. But if you're not able to do that, I think the most important thing is to use lightener instead of color when you're buying a box to treat your highlights at home, especially if you have darker hair. If you use a box color, just a color, you may end up with red or brassy or uneven results. So my suggestion is to actually use a lightener or bleach as your highlighting formula. The most important thing when using bleach or lightener is, as I said, to use something to hold it in place so that it doesn't go in unwanted places, and also to wear gloves during the process because you don't want to get any of the lightener or the bleach on your hands. So you can see I just put a few foils in the front. you are totally capable of doing that yourself. I would rather you use a foil such as this or something that's going to give you better control rather than the cap, which has the holes individually in them. The problem with the cap is if there is any overlapping, you can cause breakage and you can end up with really unhealthy hair. So I'd rather you use a foil to control it rather than a cap. Remember, it's vital and very important and necessary for you to always follow the manufacturer's instructions. As far as process time goes, I would say a maximum of 20 minutes to allow these foils to process when you are doing this yourself at home. Although I would highly recommend for you to look at the foil, open it up, and actually look at it every 3 to 4 minutes. And with such a small amount of foils, it should be no problem whatsoever for you to pick up and open up 1 or 2 of them and take a look every 3 to 4 minutes. And what you're looking for is the lightness that you're looking for. So if you want it to be a few shades lighter, that's what you need to see. If you want it to be much lighter, then you'll probably need to leave it on a few more minutes, but I would not let it go past 20 minutes. So what we're going to do now is allow our foils to process, and we'll be back. Okay, so every few minutes I've been checking the level of lightness to see what lifted, and we are done. As you can see from this foil, we've achieved several levels lighter, and if you have a problem seeing the lightness behind this product, then you can take a dry white towel and rub a little bit of the product away so that you can see the color underneath the product. I wouldn't use a wet towel because it might fool you into thinking it's a little bit darker than it actually is. Always want to follow manufacturer's instructions in terms of timing, but again, I think every 3 to 4 minutes is a good idea before you shampoo. Your highlights, they're kind of an ugly, brassy, orangey color. The most important thing is to get an even highlight, which is why I want you to use a foil-like situation, because we did get a really nice even highlight, and it's going to look fantastic. And now what we're going to do is to finish drying it, and that's what you can do at home, is just take a blow dryer and dry it. And now we're going to apply our toner. I've chosen a level 8 natural toner, which you can easily buy at a drugstore, or if you're at a beauty supply store, you can ask for. Literally, you can look at the shade that you want and buy it and put it on. After you highlight hair with lightener, you can pretty much get what you pick as a toner. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this so that we can apply our toner. So now what I'd like to do is show you how easy it is to mix the toner. Again, as I said, if you've lightened your hair with lightener and you've gotten it the level of lightness that you want, you can pretty much select and buy a toner that looks good and mix it and apply it. I would highly recommend using a demi-permanent or a semi-permanent as a toner so that you can be free to put it anywhere you want and it'll only cover the highlights. If for some reason you purchase permanent color and use it as a toner, you might disrupt the rest of the color on your head, and you don't want to do that. So this is a really gentle, no ammonia, demi-permanent toner, and it's a level 8, which is what we wanted. I think when you're going to apply your toner, you're going to definitely want to wear a big old towel so that you won't spill anything on any of your clothing. And I think it's important to apply the toner away from your face because you don't want to get any color ever in your eyes. So I'm simply going to apply the toner to the highlighted hair. One of the things that's very important when you are doing this application is to be very thorough as to cover all of the highlighted hair. You want it to be even, and you want to cover every section that was highlighted, thoroughly saturated each highlighted section, so that you get a nice even color result when you're done. With our model's hair today, I selected using a toner because I had a feeling it was going to be a little brassy because of how dark her hair was. If your hair highlights and lifts and you like the color, then you don't have to use a toner. You may not need what is known as a double process, especially if your hair is lighter to begin with. So what I'm going to do is to continue applying the toner to the entirety of the highlights, and then we're going to let it process somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Again, I think it's important, especially if you're at home, is to keep an eye out for the tone. If you can't see it, take a dry towel and wipe off a little bit of the toner and see if you like the shade. And then we'll shampoo this out again, and we shall see the finished result. So it's so exciting. As you can see, we completed the process and we've achieved our desired result. The toner was able to take out a little bit of that unwanted brassiness that we had after the highlights, which you could experience at home as well. We only left the toner on for a few minutes, about 8 minutes. I eyeballed it and took it off and shampooed it. And something that's really important for you at home is to maintain your hair with the proper color care. You want to use a product that is specifically formulated to maintain the color that you just did. One thing to keep in mind is not to highlight your hair too often at home. We don't want you to do this on a repeated basis. And if you do experience any problems such as breakage or dry or brittle hair, or if you have any questions about this process whatsoever, to consult a salon professional. Thank you.